What's going on, everyone? So we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, Walker Kessler is back on the market. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar on how I feel about Walker Kessler. For those that aren't familiar, he's the center I've wanted more than any other center. He is already one of, if not the best rim protecting defensive centers in all of basketball. The only guy in some categories, not all of them, but some categories that is better than him is Victor Wembanyama, who is likely going to win multiple defensive players of the year over the course of his career. But Walker Kessler, I just think would be ideal. He's young. You could develop him. You'd have him for the next 10 years, right? He is everything the Lakers need. An elite rim protector, a guy that can create a little bit for himself, create a little bit for others, pass out of the double team, has shown a little bit of the ability to stretch the floor and knock down the occasional three. Not something I'd want him to do right now, but something as he continues to grow and develop, I do think could potentially be in his arsenal at some point, right? Walker Kessler is the guy I've wanted terribly, right? Utah's going to have to make some decisions on Walker Kessler because he's going into a contract year, right? So are they going to pay him the bag, or are they going to look to trade him? What are they going to do with Walker Kessler? So this is a good opportunity for the Lakers because, again, Utah, based on reports that have came out, are listening to or expected to listen to offers for Walker Kessler, right? That they are going to entertain potentially trading Walker Kessler, which, they have 3 or 4 centers, not counting this upcoming draft, right? And based on reports that came out about a week ago now, Utah kind of wants to pick a direction, right? Danny Ainge just hired his son, who's, development guy and all that stuff, right? They're supposed to start picking a lane here where they kind of been all over the place, right? So if you're Utah, you kind of want to clean up what you can clean up, clear what you need to clear up, and then that way now you can start heading down your clear path, right? So for the Lakers, if you can get involved in this Walker Kessler trade, if you can get involved in land of Walker Kessler, which is probably going to cost you, but I would rather have Walker Kessler than the Mark Williams trade. I just think Walker Kessler is much better defensively, right? Mark Williams, I think, is right now the better offensive player, but I do think Walker Kessler has the ability to kind of open up and continue to grow as an offensive player. But Walker Kessler is he gives you that youth, gives you that upside, gives you that potential, which you'd be looking for with a Mark Williams, but he's also healthier, right? The games played and all that stuff these last few years with Utah's literally, last year, Utah literally sat their starting 5. All 5 of their starters for weeks at a time, right? So, again, it's hard to kind of gauge, especially with these tanking teams and stuff, right? How many games would they really play? But Walker Kessler has been healthier. There's not as much concern as with the Mark Williams. If you basically gave up the package for Mark Williams, right, that to land Walker Kessler, perfect. If you did Dalton Connect in a first, even a pick swap, you go get Walker, perfect, right? I would try to see if you could expand it, maybe get a John Collins in the deal, right? Get you some athleticism, some 3-and-D, right? Guy that can slot in and play essentially 3 through 5 for you, right? You could even go small and still maintain that size, height, and athleticism, right? I wouldn't even hate a Colin Sexton as a player off the bench, right? They have some guys. They have some young guys that could make some sense. The Lakers could look to, potentially getting into the deal. But Walker, if you can just get Walker Kessler, he is cheap enough contract-wise right now, to trade for. You're going to have to give him a new contract, but he's cheap enough right now trade-wise to where you could go get him and then still go make other moves and make other trades. Now, obviously, if you end up trading, your first and Dalton Connect, then there goes a large majority of your higher-end trade value. But again, you got your franchise center. That's why I'd be okay with it. It's why even the Mark Williams trade, right? A lot of people were oh man, Lakers are really overpaying. But it's one, Lakers are probably going to have to overpay regardless because every team knows you need a center, right? And then 2, on top of having to overpay for any center that you get, I'm okay with it if it's a long-term answer, right? If you're trading for a guy that you're only going to have for, 3 to 5 years, then sure, yeah. It's like if you're overpaying for a Nikola Vucevic, right? And it's okay, how many years do you have left of him, right? Then yeah, that's silly. But to go get a guy that you'd have for the next, like I said, 8 to 10 years, then it's yeah, to me, that's a no-brainer. Go get that guy And the level in which, like, you solve your starting center position, which is the biggest need, right? And then do whatever other moves and whatnot that you can, right? Get some free agents, right? Take a flyer on a couple guys. Can you maybe make some trades to get some other pieces? Again, I would look to trade Austin Reeves. I don't know if the Lakers will do that, but at some point you maybe turn Austin Reeves into like a 3-and-D wing, or maybe some depth, maybe a couple guys, right? But point is if you can land Walker Kessler, you go land Walker Kessler. I mean, a guy's already a double-double guy. Guy's already one of, if not arguably the best just defensive centers in all of basketball. That's exactly what the Lakers need, right? And I've talked about it, right? Like, the Lakers don't need this super skilled center offensively. Like, yes, I'd love a Mark Williams. I'd love a Miles Turner, things like that. But you got to keep in mind, right? Any center that the Lakers get for at least the next few years, at best, is going to be your fourth option, right? Because Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. Now, if the Lakers end up trading Austin Reeves, then maybe at best he becomes the third option. But LeBron's probably playing another 2 years, maybe 3, right? Because he's probably going to want to play until his other son's in the league. So you're talking at least 2 more years, right? So now any center that you get isn't going to be an immediate guy. Like, that doesn't mean that he can't give you 15 or whatever, but it's just something to keep in mind. Where I would love to have this super skilled offensive versatile center that can just do a little bit of everything, but I don't think that that is a major necessity as it is the proper center, right? And Walker Kessler, to me, is that proper center. A guy that can rebound, that can block shots, that can, be that lob threat, but still has the capability. Yes, he's not this super just savvy offensive player, but he is still skilled enough offensively to where he's not completely reliant on a Luka Doncic or an Austin Reeves or LeBron James to set him up, right? He's a guy that you can dump it down and he can, score over either shoulder, do a little pick and pop action. Like I said, has shown a little bit of the ability to stretch the floor. He's a guy that I could see developing into a more well-rounded offensive game, but gives you enough right now. But to me, it's more about the rebounding and defense. A guy that can defend in space, a guy that can close out on shooters, right? A guy that can defend and protect the paint. Like, those have their value, right? So he's a guy that I would heavily, if you, whatever you have to pony up, in my opinion, for Walker. Like, Walker Kessler is one of the few centers that I would, if the Lakers overpay, right, I would be more than happy with, right? Like, if you had to turn, if you did Dalton Connect a first and a pick swap to go get Walker Kessler, so be it. Because again, you're not just putting a Band-Aid over your center position. You're putting a long-term with growth, upside, and potential, but also gives you that defensive foundation. That's the biggest thing. Now you have your defensive anchor for the next 10 years, right? So again, you solve so many needs just with Walker Kessler. So I would greatly look, if I was the Lakers, into can you acquire Walker Kessler, right? But what does he provide? What did he do this past season? Well, he played 58 games this past year. Again, keep in mind, right? This is a guy that sat multiple weeks just because Utah wanted to tank, okay? Something that's very important to keep in mind. Look at the previous years, 64 games, 74 games. Again, keep in mind, Utah has been tanking the last few years too. So it's kind of hard to gauge what would he be giving you. If he could give you, 74 games, that'd be ideal. If he's in the, 65 to 70 games a season, like that realm, perfect. That's, again, you still need a backup center, you still need to do things, right? But, we're just not in that NBA where guys are playing 82 games every year. Right? If he can just give us around 70 games a season, that would be perfect, or 65 games. So, if he can basically qualify for, the all defensive and all the accolades, that'd be perfect, because that means he's playing enough games to have an impact during the regular season, and then obviously be healthy come playoff time. But you look at last year, 30 minutes played. He shot 66.3% from the field on 7.2 attempts. So not a ton of attempts, right? Which again, is good because you got to keep in mind, he's a guy that's not going to get a ton of attempts because at best, he's going to be the fourth option. 3-point range, he is a career 20% 3-point shooter. Last season, took his most attempts, and it was only 0.6 attempts, so not even a full attempt, but shot 17.6% from 3-point range. Again, not a guy you want taking a bunch of threes, but again, he has shown the ability to stretch the floor and knock down the occasional three. That's good. That gives you that there's that potential there. Will he ever reach it? Who knows? But there's the potential of him maybe even being able to be a floor spacer at some point. 2-point range, 70.6% on 6.6 attempts. EFG of 67.1%. Free throw shooting, that's definitely a concern. Free throw shooting, he is a career 54% free throw shooter. He shot 52% last year. Previous year, he was 60%. Needs to kind of pick that up, right? Rebounding, 12.2 rebounds, including 4.6 offensive rebounds, all right? 2 assists, a steal, and 2.5 blocks per game, along with 11.1 points. So he's giving you 11 and 12, 2 assists, a steal, and 2.5 blocks per game. That's everything the Lakers team needs. Oh, and by the way, he's still young enough to be, again, your center and foundation piece for the next, 10 years. He's a true 7-footer. He's like 245, 250 weight-wise, so he's got the weight behind him, and he's 23 years old. He'll be 24 in, a little over a month. Go get Walker Kessler. But as always, this is a discussion, so let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you want to like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.